Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap Student to Engineer, where STEM professionals provide advice to students. This video today is going to be going over the student outcomes for North Carolina State University. This is a public university in North Carolina and the largest university in the Carolinas. The school provides some information that we will go through, and I've done a little bit of data chopping so we can get a little bit more information out of it. So let's get right into it. North Carolina State University makes their data available through the postgraduate employment information. They have a description of what they are providing here at the top, but basically it is the December 23 and May 24 grads that were given a survey like so many other schools, and they provide some information about the responses. So we'll just go through what they show, and then I will show you what I've done with the data. So filtered through this area on the side for bachelor's and College of Engineering only. What they provide here is by department and then by academic program, which is basically just each major in there. But one thing that I noticed is that they are missing the negative piece of this. So what they provided is the number of grads in each area, the number of survey respondents, and the percent of respondents. So their response rate's about 50%. That's not that great. I'd like to see high response rates indicating that, one, the school is trying to get these response from grads, but also that the grads are interested in their school and not just running away as soon as they can. So then the next two columns are attending grad school and attending or accepted a full-time job. These are just numbers, and I'll go into that in a minute. And then the number reporting their salary and the average and the median. So we typically like to use medians. A median of 78,000 is a good number. That's a healthy number for any school, so that's nice to see. But what we're not seeing is percents for grad school and jobs, and also not seeing percents for those who are still seeking. So what I did is I copied this information, and actually I copied this specific information from the all academic programs, and I put it into a spreadsheet. So I'm going to use this for the rest of the discussion because I've broken it down a little bit more, and hopefully I'm able to give you a little bit more insight than what the school provided. One thing I want to note before we get too far is that the second and third items here, so rows 5 and 6, appear to be the exact same thing. I did not combine them because I don't know for sure, but they're both appear to be biomedical engineering, which is a joint program. But assuming that those still are two separate programs, we'll just look at all of these majors. So again, we get to 50% response rate. Same comment as before. I'd like to see that a little bit higher. Then let's go to the percent attending grad school. So percent attending grad school is 26%. That's a pretty good number. It's about average for engineering schools, so nothing significant there. You can see the difference with the different majors from 0% in construction, which I think is probably expected in something like construction, to up to 50% and 56% in biomedical and nuclear. Definitely areas where you can continue your education pretty far and get a lot into research. So I'm going to skip the accepted full-time job just for a moment and go over to a column that I calculated. So basically what I did is I took the number of survey respondents on each row, subtracted the number that are going to grad school, and subtracted again the number that have a full-time job, and I have a remaining number. So I'm assuming that the rest of these are still seeking. That may or may not be a good assumption, but they're either doing something, they're either still seeking or doing something else. But if they are still seeking, What I've done is I've calculated those in the percents, and what we've gotten to is 20% of the engineering grads are still looking for a job or still trying to get into grad school or doing something else. That is not a good number. What I'd like to see is these numbers being below 10%, below 5% is great. The converse of that is 90 to 95% positive outcomes. So now I say that I like to see numbers in the high 90s. I have been looking at data from the last few years, and that's been a very strong job market. I do expect those numbers to go down just because of a lot of things happening in the markets, and it's more challenging for grads to get jobs, which at this point is why it's even more important to get yourself into a good school, expecting that the next couple years may be hard for new grads depending on how things turn out. But 20% still seeking is not a good number. Now, if we do look again to these different majors, there are very, very different numbers. Material science and engineering and nuclear engineering have a 0% still seeking. That is what I've seen on every school that I've looked at for these two majors. So materials and nuclear are very good things to go into right now, and two majors that don't have a whole lot of programs at a lot of schools and also don't have a whole lot of people going into them. So something to consider if you're undecided. This data that we're seeing is not just for this one school. This is pretty much across the board. But let's just look at some of these other ones that are a lot higher. Computer engineering, computer science, 28 and 30%, and then also, depending on what these two are here, it might be a pretty high percent for biomedical. But computer engineering, computer science used to be really hot. Generally, you're still seeing higher salaries for this major than most other majors. But we are starting to see some of these percent still seeking creeping up. So something to consider if you're looking at computer science or computer engineering. That world is changing significantly with AI coming in, with a lot of tech companies overhiring during COVID and then having mass layoffs and a lot of other things going on in the industry. So something to consider when you're choosing a major. All right, so that is all the information that is available for NC State. If you have any comments, questions, any other information you'd like to get, please leave a comment with this video. It helps the algorithm and gets us a little bit more attention in YouTube. Other than that, we will see you on the next one.